So he's making an excuse, Geraldo, for all the earmarks. We have more spending in this bill in the history of this country. He promises change, but we really need the 20 million removal of medium-sized fish, passage barriers, ATV
medium-sized fish passage
medium-sized fish.
Is that for delicatessens? What is that?
Well, maybe it's sushi.
You know, the problem the president made, I believe, was trusting Congress to do the right thing. He should have drafted the stimulus package. He has a clear idea of what he wants to accomplish. It should have been the White House gives it to Pelosi in the House, gives it to Reid in the Senate, brings the Republicans in, let's negotiate, but this is what I want to accomplish. I think by trusting Congress and the Democrats out of power for so long, they had this this kind of orgasmic rush to put everything they could think of into the bill.
You're just so eloquent with words. But first of all, I actually agree with him, Michelle, and that as much as I think it's almost President Pelosi and passive Barack Obama, but I think tonight he showed great arrogance. And I think when you look at the
words out of my mouth.
When the American people have looked at this bill and this reckless spending and the debt we're putting on our kids, now it's 37% approval and going lower. And he is missing public opinion on this, and he's doubled down tonight. What's going to be the fallout?
I think it's going to stand still, and I think we're not going to see any bipartisanship whatsoever. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. I think we're going to have to wait and see, but it's not going to go anywhere the way that it is. That's for sure.
Steve, explain to the American people this kind of reckless spending. Do you really think we need $400 million for STD prevention, contraception, an ATV
they took
trail?
That out of the bill.
Wait a minute.
Wait
a minute. $600 million to revamp the federal fleet, which he defended tonight. $650 for digital
Don't forget
TV.
The prostitution shelter.
The prostitutes. We got the hookers. We got to
all that stuff is added.
This idea of reckless spending.
It's still in.
The hookers are still in?
Yeah.
We just had George Bush in 8 years. We just had George Bush in 8 years of driving the economy completely into the ditch.
Oh, stop.
And now,
George Bush is not
we're going to do a stimulus package.
Stick with this bill.
That it's not done yet. It's got a ways to go, and when it's done, it's going to be the right thing to do.
All right, well, now here's the problem. 37% of the American people now support it, and it's like a rotting fish, according to Democratic strategist Mark McKinnon. The CBO, the gold standard in judging these bills, has said it's not a stimulus bill. Most of this money is back-ended. Most of this is federal spending. This is huge pork barrel projects. How can you defend that when the average American has to pay for this garbage? There's so much lard and pork and mismanagement in here. How do you defend that to the American people?
There's not that much pork in this bill, and it's not done yet, Sean. They are working right now in the Senate. But they're going to change the bill. People like John McCain have gone down to the White House to meet with Barack Obama to say what he needs in the bill. There's going to be a lot of changes.
If they had their way, it's all in there.
But, Sean, just very quickly, just parenthetically, what Steve says, remember, George Bush was president for 8 years. This economic catastrophe and the devastating impact on my family and others across this country happened under the Republicans' watch. But now, jump cut. I don't know, I haven't gone through line by line this bill. I would hope that they would get together as reasonable people and make a compromise. I think the idea of a 4% mortgage, the Republican idea, is a good idea. I think reducing taxes on small business is a good idea. I think that a thoughtful, righteous combination of tax cuts and public spending. I would spend it all on the highways in New Jersey and places like that. The bridges are falling down. And put people to work. Let it go.
Michelle, first of all, I don't want anybody hurting here. But you know what? George Bush did inherit the recession. I keep reminding people. George Bush had the negative impact of 9/11. We had low interest rates, low inflation. He fought 2 wars in the process.
He let people rob us blind. We got robbed blind by a business community that was stealing our money. Vultures.
Well, wait a minute. Fannie and Freddie, Geraldo, let's get to the truth here. Fannie and Freddie was caused by the Democrats because they forced the banks to make the risky loans.
Where was the SEC? Where was the Security Exchange Commission?
Well,
please, Sean,
listen, where was Barney Frank telling us?
This bill may indeed have all the pork you suggest, but to blind ourselves to 8 years of history is trying to rewrite history.
Barney Frank told us everything was fine. The Republicans told us, everything was a disaster in the making.
And Barney Frank also wants to now keep an eye on corporate executives. Barney Frank is part of the reason we're in this mess in the first place. And to act like Pelosi is going to sit down and, act bipartisanly and cooperate with Republicans is absurd. Because she's just not. She's already said, I won. And, Barack Obama won. And end of story. This is what we want.
Let's take away Pelosi's plane. Let's take away all the chauffeur.
She has a plane?
She has the Gulfstream. She flies home every weekend to San Francisco. First speaker to ever have that plane.
Should
we take that away?
She's not the first speaker to have a plane.
All right, here. So
no.
That
Dennis
is not true.
Dennis Hastert did not have a Gulfstream taking him every weekend to San Francisco. I don't think she. Why should she get a plane? Why do I have to pay for her plane?
Why am I hearing bad vibes about Air Force One? I never heard that when Ronald Reagan took Air Force One to vacation in California.
I don't mind, but you know what? If we're gonna manage money and we're gonna demonize corporations, why don't we do it for government?
The President of the United States deserves 24-hour, 7-day-a-week security
I agree with
for
you.
good reasons.
Right.
The Speaker of the House is third in line for the President of the United States.
Newt Gingrich didn't have one.
Yes, he did.
He did not have a plane. No, sir. He did not have a plane.
Dennis
No
Hastert,
plane.
the Republican Speaker, had a plane because
Newt Gingrich had no plane.
after 9/11, the security people made a decision that these guys needed a plane.
All right, I have an idea. When they can balance their budget, when they can give us back the money they misappropriated on Social Security, I'm with you. But we got to take a break. We got to check in with Greta Van Susteren to check in and see what's coming up in 20 short minutes.